Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 6 of season two's College Chess Podcast, hosted by me and Judith, who is a new guest on our show. She's taking the place of Max. But we're joined by a very special guest, host of the C Squared podcast, which I'm sure you all know of by now, as well as the coach for the Mizzou chess team, Grandmaster Cristian Chirila. Cristian, thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome to set this up, and I really appreciate your time doing this. Welcome.
Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be called to action for collegiate chess. So a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Judith, for your first time on the show, maybe you can give the audience a quick introduction for yourself.
Well, thank you, Joe, for having it's an honor to replace Max for this week, and I'm an international arbiter and also an organizer based out of Northern California, and I'm really excited to chat with you guys and ask Cristian some questions. We've known each other for almost 9 years now, so it will be a fun episode talking about college chess and beyond, right?
Yeah, and I see that you have some cool paintings behind you. Is that Irina Crush behind
Yeah,
you?
that is Irina Crush. That was a
looks like Irina
gift
Crush, yes.
from a really talented player up in the Sacramento area, and he's a painter as well. So
Very cool.
like having
Very
her
cool.
there.
Yeah, very
Thank
cool.
you.
Actually, I also put up there's like this painting behind me of you remember
I have
where
that
got
one.
that? Yeah.
I have that as well in my house, actually. For the simple fact that I own 3 cats. So it only made sense that I'm gonna have a black cat painting, and that was from the Pan Ams last year in Seattle. I think there was this local artist that was selling paintings. So yeah, really cool.
I actually wanted to ask you, Cristian, if you remember the last time the three of us were all together in the same room.
I mean, it must have been at the Pan Ams.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, what about the last time before that, if you remember?
Maybe 2019 in San Francisco. That far away.
Do you remember, Judith?
It must have been one of the U.S. amateur teams, right? Or the 2018 Pan Am, right?
I remember.
2018
I remember
December.
something that you guys don't. It seems.
It might have been some sort of a party in St. Louis as well. Like
No,
that could also be the case.
It was in LA.
Okay,
chess
LA, yeah,
boxing,
at
of
the chess
course.
boxing. Yeah. We had
Yeah.
some good times at the chess boxing for
So,
sure.
yeah, we have
course.
some history. But
Yeah.
yeah, no. So it's crazy how much you guys do for chess and specifically for college chess. And I remember 2019, you mentioned San Francisco. That was the first time we actually met, Cristian. And I remember knowing that you were the coach for the Mizzou team, and that must have really been recent for you, right? Like, is that when you started, or did you start a little bit before then?
I didn't even have a team at the time where we met. I don't remember exactly the month. I think it was May. It was the beginning of May, and we just started the program in February, but we didn't have a team yet. We were just basically trying to recruit people, create a team, and be able to start the program. But myself, I was already working for the university, already looking into recruitment and try to get players quickly at the university, because we started in February. Generally, at that time, most of the players are already, or the ones that want to join universities are already recruited. It's a very competitive field when it comes to recruitment, and when it comes to all top universities that are always on the lookout for talented players from all over the world. So we managed to get 4 players at the time. Our, let's say, founding members, I like to call them, not the founding fathers, but the founding members of the Mizzou chess team. Grigory Oparin, who is still with us. Christopher Repka from Slovakia, who just graduated last year. Actually, in May. He graduated in May this year. Last semester is what I meant. And Gulruk Begim Tohirjanova, who is still with the university, but will be graduating this December, and already I think will be working for the St. Louis Chess Club. So she's still going to stay within the chess world, which is pretty cool. And Dmitry Gordievsky, who unfortunately COVID was a big stopper for a lot of the players, especially a lot of the international players. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to come back after everything reopened. So those are the four founding members.
And you started the Mizzou team which year? 2019?
2019, yeah.
Right,
February
so your
2019.
first Pan Am was 2019, December in Charlotte, right?
Yep.
Nice.
That was the first one. With the team that I just mentioned.
Yeah,
and you guys were. I think you were there as well. I know Judith was there. I don't remember if you were there.
No, I wasn't in Charlotte.
You weren't there?
Yeah, that was one of the few ones I skipped in the last few years. So
Yeah,
for the viewers who don't know, Pan Am is the yearly annual college championship. It's an open field. Colleges can field teams and several teams. So Mizzou had one team in Charlotte, and I think ever since you guys have been fielding several teams, right?
Not so much, actually. Not so much. I think only last year we had a couple of teams. And this year, I think we're going to be coming with 2 teams as well. Hopefully, we're going to be able to come with 2 teams as well. That's the current plan, let's say.
Nice. And the Pan Am travels around the country. So sometimes it's in the East Coast, sometimes it's in the West Coast, North and South. So it's a fun competition to travel to, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
the first Pan Am I went to was in DC, but I got sick, so I was supposed to be like streaming it, but we had other streamers, and that was the first time we ever broadcasted. And then the most recent one in Seattle was really the first one that I was able to actually be at and be involved with, and we streamed that one as well. So I think we're planning on streaming this one this year. It's going to be a bit tougher in McAllen, but we're definitely always trying to look to support college chess. And it's crazy how like 2019, you're saying you guys weren't even with the team yet, and like the league didn't even exist. And I remember pitching this idea to you of the Collegiate Chess League, really inspired by Pro Chess League. And it's kind of awesome to see how far the Mizzou chess team has come, as well as the CCL. So do you feel that like college chess is kind of an exciting place to be in, and it's growing a lot? Do you see the CCL maybe being more involved in like the future of college chess?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's an integral part of college chess, and it should be an integral part of college chess. And I was in 2019 when we were discussing this at the Pro Chess League. I told you that that's kind of how I see things evolving as well, because it just doesn't make sense. And a lot of the colleges outside of the ones that are able to provide scholarships and do have some funding, a lot of them is going to be very difficult to travel around on a weekly basis. And I think this is something that we need in college chess, just like in every other collegiate sport. We need continuous competition, and you can only get continuous competition online when it comes to chess, because simply outside of the top 6 universities, and even the top 6 universities, the ones that offer chess scholarships, I don't see anybody else being able to travel on a weekly basis around the country. It's just not feasible. So what you have to do is do it online. That's where the Collegiate Chess League comes into play. And you guys have been doing a great job putting that together and attracting a lot of players, and making sure that everything runs smoothly. And it's very important. It's a very difficult job, and I'm sure it's always fine-tuned. After every week, I would assume you guys find things that you can improve on, and it's a continuous project, but it's definitely one worth it.
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you guys, because I think Mizzou is one of the first, if not the first team that really bought into it, and you guys have competed every single season.
Yeah.
And you've also had great success every single season. So really appreciate that from you and the team. And speaking
again,
of success,
for us, I feel if this has to succeed in order for college chess to continue growing as well, we were a bit stale, I'm not gonna lie. Pan Ams and Final Four, and that's about it. nothing else. We didn't even have the Rapid and Blitz until the last couple of years, maybe the last three or 4 years. 2019, I don't think we had Rapid and Blitz, if I remember correctly.
I
thought
think
that was the first year.
Maybe that was the first year. Yes, and
it was over the board, right? And then we moved it to online, and now we are online. Right?
I think that one should come back over the board. I know you guys like to do it online, but I hope that the Rapid and Blitz at some point is going to come back over the board.
Do you envision a place where both exists, an over-the-board championship and an online championship, and then awarding
yes.
2 titles?
Maybe. I see the Rapid and Blitz as one of those tournaments that could be added alongside the Pan Ams, and the Final Four. Because right now in person we only have the Pan Ams and the Final Four. Online we have a lot of competitions and continuous competitions, such as the Collegiate Chess League. We also have a tournament organized by the Kasparov Chess Foundation. We used to have even the World University Championship organized online, which has not come back. And I hope at some point it will. But there's definitely movement, a lot of movement in online chess, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And I hope that we will be able to at least add a few options for over the board chess as well. I feel we should be able to combine the two. And who knows, by the way, something maybe similar to what the Champions Chess Tour are doing, something that happens online and then it has a grand finals in person. That could be an idea. I don't know what do you guys think about that?
Well, the Collegiate Chess League has always had live in-person finals in mind, and again, heavily inspired by Pro Chess League, which is where we met at the live person in finals. So you mentioned Champion Chess Tour is doing it. Pro Chess League was doing it, I think, at least in 2019, maybe even earlier. But it's definitely on our vision in the future. If the Collegiate Chess League gets big enough, we'll fly out like the last 4 teams to do semifinals and finals, and that would be a really cool event.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. That's the one that makes the most sense to me, and I'm sure you guys are already kind of envisioning that. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and speaking of your team's success in college chess, specifically in the Collegiate Chess League, I wanted to give a little recap of what happened last week, where it was regular season's finale, week 7. You guys were up against SLU. This was like the number 1 seed versus number 2 seed. And you guys actually really took it home, and you needed not only to win, but to win by a certain number of points to pass them in standings, because you'd be tied in the record otherwise. And you guys did exactly just that. So I wanted to see if I could get a little insight of your game plan as a coach, preparing your players, and how they executed.
Well, my game plan as a coach was that I gave them a really hard time. After they lost, I'm trying to remember exactly. Let me find it. Who did we lose against in week 5?
You guys lost to Yale.
That was a big hit because they were dominating after the first couple, and then everything seems to be running smooth, and then they basically threw. One of our players lost a position with, I believe it was a rook and a piece up, and gave the queen in one move. And basically, we ended up losing 8.5, 7.5. And I told them that is one of the few moments in which I was ashamed of their performance since the inception of the team. So, I kind of came down pretty hard on them, and they didn't like that. And they decided to strike back. And that's kind of what I hope to achieve with that unfortunate moment. And they did. They didn't have an easy path. They were facing UTRGV and SLU in the last couple of weeks. So obviously a very difficult lineup to face. But they knew that if they want to get in those top 2, so they get a bye week as we enter the playoffs. I don't think we were ever in trouble of missing the playoffs, but they also wanted to get the top 2 and get a bye week for the playoffs. So they knew what they had to do. We luckily had Grigory also coming back from his tournaments. He was in Qatar. He played in Qatar. He also played at the European Club Cup, so he had a busy tournament schedule. And we accommodated that because we felt we have a good lineup even without him. So the last couple of weeks they were very motivated. They put in a lot of work, and they stopped giving up 3 points. Unforced errors, like in tennis. They had a lot of those during the first 5 weeks, but in the last two, they were very motivated and managed to pull through.
Yeah, and just to give everyone some context, SLU is the defending champions of the Collegiate Chess League, and Mizzou beat them 12.5 to 3.5, which might be the largest loss of SLU's career. So you're saying that you're pretty disappointed in the Mizzou performance against Yale. Maybe SLU's feeling that kind of same intensity from the loss you just handed them. So you guys passed them, and obviously it's not quite time to celebrate just yet because we do have the playoffs starting this weekend. SLU is going to be taking on Columbia, and UTRGV is going to be taking on Yale. And your team, I believe, will face the winner between SLU and Columbia. So that's going to be a tough semifinals match. Mm-hmm. And obviously SLU is going to try to come back with a vengeance and have their full strength lineup. Do you think that your team is the favorite, or do you think that it's going to be tough no matter who you face?
Yeah, I don't think there's any favorites in the semifinals. They have a very, very strong lineup. We have a very good lineup as well. I would say we're quite similar in strength in that regard. They will line up for sure for grandmasters, and we're probably going to do the same. So yeah, I don't really see a clear favorite in this, and that's a good thing. You want to have very balanced teams, and I think this is something that we strive quite well, and we managed to accomplish quite well in the Collegiate Chess League. They did not play, as you were mentioning, with their full strength lineup. For whatever reason, Benji Bach decided to do commentary with you on that match. I think they felt they have it in the bag. Like there's no way maybe they're gonna lose, but they're not gonna lose like 12.5 to 3.5 or whatever it was. And he took a week off. I gave him a hard time. We did commentary the next day together, and I gave him a hard time about it. So I'm sure that they'll be very motivated to come back and put a good performance during the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely going to be a tough match.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying there's really no clear favorites. Like going into the season, if you just looked at the standings, maybe you'd say SLU as the best team. But obviously the regular season, we've shown that UT Dallas came out in first, right? When they were originally like the 3rd or 4th seed. So any given matchup, you really don't know who's going to win, which is great. And I'm hoping to make Division I even more competitive and get more schools and teams involved, especially like Webster. So I was wondering, maybe Judith, you can give some insight as well. Like, how do we get more of these players and teams to buy in and register?
Cristian, do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead, Judith. I'll give you the first step on this one.
Yeah. I think availability is the major factor, right? When these matches, how flexible the matches can be. And I think you guys, or the CCL, gives the teams enough flexibility to reschedule matches if they want to and do that. So I think it's just spreading the word and then convincing teams and talking with the coaches. And the second thing is the coaches need to support this and need the buy-in, right? I mean, Cristian, you are a coach, you support this 100%, not only support it, you actually encourage them and coach them, right? So imagine a coach is not behind, oh yeah, CCL is just a online something little entertainment, right? If the coach is not behind it 100%. So what's your strategy in terms of prepping them for this versus for an over-the-board event? And I mean, you yourself as a UTD alumni, right? Can you get inspiration? What your coach, who was your coach at that time?
Rade Milovanovic.
Yeah. So what
Yes.
have you learned from your past?
Well, we didn't have this type of events previously. So what we did have was, I'm trying to remember, the US League, the precursor to the Pro Chess League.
Yeah.
The US Chess League, I think it was called, USCL or something like that. I don't remember exactly. So we were sometimes playing that. We had a team in Dallas, the Dallas Stars, and I was occasionally on the team for that one. So we were already kind of getting used to online chess at that point. And this was, I'm ancient. I'm an old dinosaur for my students. They're like, oh, back in 2012, and they're like, what was happening in 2012? It's an interesting situation. But yes, we had that, and myself as a coach, I always tell them that if collegiate chess is to succeed and to expand and to grow, we have to go this path, and we have to include online chess, because online chess is somewhat the future, or at least is going to be part of the future of chess. And we need, again, continuous competition. As I mentioned, weekly competition is crucial, and they need to understand that, and they do understand that. They do understand that this is part of their responsibility, as well as collegiate players, as players that get supported throughout college by the program. And this is one way to compete for the program and to win titles for the program. So they understand that responsibility, and they take it very seriously. In terms of coaching for blitz games, blitz games are blitz games. The easiest way to coach them for blitz games is to play blitz. That's so, especially on Fridays, we have weekly trainings. We try to do at least twice a week, 3 to 4 hours every session. And we have our last weekly training session on Fridays. So whenever we have a competition, a big match, let's say, like the one versus SLU, like the one versus UTRGV, a big match in the Collegiate Chess League, we try to focus on just practicing blitz games, especially the lineup that's going to be playing that particular week.
Are you practicing online or over the board?
No. We meet in person. But
when you prep for CCL, you still
we play in person. Yeah. We don't go as far as to be in the same room and play on chess.com. No. We play in person just because it keeps it more lively, more friendly, more fun, and that's important as well, to have some fun during these trainings as well, because they have enough serious competition as it is already.
So how would you convince another coach to start this journey with CCL next year? Or
I mean, it's not about convincing. Some people don't see it as important. I think it speaks for itself, to quote some greats on this podcast as well. It speaks for itself, the coverage that you guys have managed to gather, and having weekly coverage on the chess.com Twitch channels. It's quite important, and I think that was a big step forward. You also have some new sponsors that are supporting the Collegiate Chess League, so that's important as well. I think SIG is a big one of them, and they've been supporting, I believe, the Pan Ams in the past as well. So they've been a big drive behind the motivation for coaches, for programs to join the Collegiate Chess League, just the simple coverage. And I think, again, this is where chess and online chess and collegiate online chess should be moving towards. A lot of college, a lot of eyes on our players, and I think everybody understands that that's an important part of every successful collegiate event and collegiate program and collegiate sport. overall. So that's enough motivation for us. I'm not going to try to convince other coaches. I'm sure they will at some, they don't want to play. That's fine. One of the big drivers for me when I started and when I had this idea of starting a collegiate program at Mizzou was to give my players more opportunities to play and to compete on the regular basis. A lot of, especially before, not necessarily before 2019. I don't want to say that we were a big force in that, but when I was in college, you were seeing college, especially coming in from other parts of the world, as okay, I'm going to give up chess. I'm going to come to college and now I'm going to focus on academics, and then chess is going to be a complete sideshow for me. I'm not going to compete that much. And I personally, it was sort of like that for me. I didn't compete as much while I was in college. And that was something that I wanted to change. That's why I try to encourage my players to compete individually as well. We try to support a lot of their travels, a lot of their competitions as well, as much as we can, and that's part of the scholarship that we offer. And whenever you can compete in online chess, I mean, look, 50%, if not more, of the tournaments nowadays are online. You have so many tours. You have Title Tuesdays. You have Champions Chess Tour. You have qualifiers to the Champions Chess Tour. Every single week, there's going to be a very important online tournament. So they have to get used to online competition, and I think the Collegiate Chess League is doing a great job at getting them ready for that as well. So yeah, it's just for us, it's an important competition as well as another important tool for them to get more competitive.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that there's a lot of reasons why you are participating in the CCL, and I hope any coaches out there, any players maybe watching, are also motivated to join, especially after some of that. And I was wondering, like, to ask you as a coach, obviously the CCL, we do like an annual or season survey at the end, but do you have any like feedback or things that maybe you'd like to see change or improve from the CCL as a coach perspective?
I hope as we move towards a more and more professional ecosystem, as we have been doing, and I hope we're going to have a place and more anti-cheating fair play measures, like have cameras all the time on the players every single week. I know we're going to be doing that for the playoffs. I think we're going to be doing that for the playoffs. Maybe you can
for divisions 1 through 3. Yes,
with us. Yes, and I think we can include that during the regular season as well. Not that we had any problems this season, but I think it just adds to the whole it confirms the validity of the CCL as well. It's another layer of confirmation, I feel like. And we've been doing that with the main matches as well. If I'm not mistaken, I know that some of the players, and during the coverage, you guys have been showing some of the players that play in the marquee matches of the week. So if we can do that for all, if we can add fair play measures, like strict fair play measures, all throughout the league, I think that's an important step.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, and obviously that's pretty important for like the competitiveness of online chess, and just fair play in general. But maybe there's something else about college chess coverage, like maybe like social media, or of course chess.com also has the college ambassador program. So these things are maybe like really important for spreading the game of chess. Obviously the CCL does a good job for competitive chess, but maybe there's some other fun, exciting ways to grow the game, like outside of actually competing, and playing. Yeah. So what do you think about like social media coverage and what chess.com is doing with the college ambassador program?
Yeah, no, I think that's very important, and I know you guys have increased your social media presence, and chess.com has been helping with that as well, to boost the presence of the Collegiate Chess League. So I think that's quite important. It's an integral part of this whole setup. It doesn't work without it. So I do think that's important, and I do think that's important to get to the players and to the teams and to the colleges as well. If we can make them understand the value of social media, and I think it has value for players as a whole, for individual players, but for programs as well. And if we can manage to convince some of the top colleges to take that route, I think that could increase the visibility of the league as well.
The other idea I have is that ultimately every college student wants to get a job after that, right?
Sure.
And I think there are so many examples, alumni of college teams, college chess team members, and I think networking is a big factor, would be a big factor of a side event or side component of a league, right? So if we can manage to have these regular networking sessions, either coffee hours or social hours or something, and then invite some of the alumni and tell us how did they get a job, what are they looking for, where do they think their college chess career would help them or did help them in the past getting a job, and what feedback would they have for current students in terms of either building a resume or presenting themselves, or just kind of interview training, for example, right? It's an art itself. So I think having, coaches as well as alumni and painting a path that, okay, you can stay in chess. This is how you can stay in chess and earn a full-time salary or living, as well as just using chess for other careers, right?
Yeah, no, that's a crucial part of it, and I've seen some of my players, struggle as they get closer to graduation with questions of that nature, like where am I going to apply, what am I going to do? I mean, obviously, it's a big step in their life, after graduation, what are they going to do next? And if you can give them a helping hand beforehand, before it happens, before the graduation happens, I think that could be a great tool that the Collegiate Chess League would have attached to itself, and that's probably going to motivate as we have been discussing, other coaches, other players to join the Collegiate Chess League as well. But yes, networking, I think it's crucial, and I like the idea of setting up maybe coffee hours with former alumni that have stayed in chess or have moved on to doing other things, because not everybody wants to stay in chess after graduation. Some people, some students want to go into the workforce. Some students want to go into finance. They want to go like Andrew Tang. They want to become analysts. That's all good, and I think that's crucial. And I'm glad that a lot of these companies are starting to see the value of chess players and the value of analytical skills that chess gives these students.
That's a great segue to talk about our sponsor, SIG, who's been bringing in guests every week for our broadcasts to talk about career opportunities. Obviously, SIG is a sponsor of not only Collegiate Chess League and the College Ambassador Program, but this podcast as well. So big shout out to SIG. Thanks for them. I think what they're doing is a huge boost to the league. And I'm sure you've talked to your players, right, Cristian, about these opportunities that SIG is bringing. And hopefully we get more companies that are interested in promoting chess, because the Collegiate Chess League is a huge recruiting tool, right? Because these are college kids that are looking for jobs and careers down the line. And I love your idea, Judith, of connecting the current clubs with alumni and other networking opportunities. And maybe we could create like an alumni league at some point. I've always had that on my mind. I think
Well, the
Christian?
St. Louis Chess Club already does or at least tries to work with the corporate
corporate,
chess
yeah.
league.
And
So
I
there's
know New York has a corporate chess league as well as
that's right.
Charlotte, and then Seattle has it too. So
Yeah. So they do have this corporate chess league, and they used to do something very similar to what Judith was mentioning, bringing an alumni to talk about every week about how how they got into the workforce, what the companies that they represent look for, and things of that nature that will help students and people that are entering the workforce make a decision, make an important decision, one of the most important decisions of their life. So I think we have to keep that in the back of our mind, that this step after you exit college is in fact one of the most important and one of the most consequential steps that you will take in your lifetime. So we might as well try to make it easier and paint a path forward for them to make it easier.
And we actually had as one of our guests last weekend was Alyssa Malakina, who is the co-founder of the New York City Corporate Chess League. So
Yep.
there's a lot of opportunities for college kids to network, and maybe we can work more closely with some of these corporate leagues to get these events going. And when people graduate, they can then compete in those leagues. So it's really cool that there's like now this pathway for the college chess players, when before maybe it was just Pan Ams and like
Final Fours.
Yeah, it's like that's really sort of it. So I think college chess is definitely a great avenue for people to network and maybe even find career opportunities for when they graduate. So when you went to school, Christian, were you planning on continuing in a chess related career, or were you thinking outside of that?
No, I think for me it was always chess, mostly because I'm not very academically inclined. I was never very academically inclined, so I wouldn't say that I was struggling. I was getting the B's that get degrees, I guess, in my regard. But I was never going to go, or at least I didn't have in my mind that I was going to go into the workforce after that. I always wanted to stay in chess, and I was lucky to get some opportunities after that, and be able to make it into a career.
Yeah, and Judith, I think you similarly maybe had chess always in the back of your mind and turned it, like all three of us have been lucky enough to turn chess into a career, and I feel like there's a lot of chess fans and players out there that maybe weren't considering it, or maybe felt like they weren't good enough to do it, or there just weren't enough career opportunities. But I think slowly but surely there's going to be more and more career opportunities within the world of chess. And I think like as online chess is growing, especially like in social media, like obviously there's a lot of chess streamers, and Christian, like you're starting and you've basically gotten to the top of like the chess podcast world. Maybe you have some advice to share with people that are potentially considering chess as a career?
Well, if you're passionate enough, I think that's kind of what the most important part is, and just not be afraid to try new things, not be afraid to throw things at the wall and see what sticks. That's kind of my mantra. And I've tried so many things. I mean, I've tried coaching. I've done a lot of coaching, like privates, things of that nature. I've worked with Judith in Bay Area. We remember those Saturday mornings, coming and coaching groups of kids, and just try to establish yourself in the world of chess if you want to continue in the world of chess. But yeah, just keep doing things that you're passionate about. I think that's quite important, and try to find your way in the chess world. And I'm sure, as you were mentioning, Joe, there's more and more opportunities opening up within the chess world. As a streamer, as a coach, as a collegiate coach, as a collegiate assistant coach, maybe, who knows, down the line in the future, I'm starting to see those type of jobs appear on the market as well. So there's a lot of new opportunities, definitely, in the world of chess, and I don't think this trend is going to stop anytime soon.
And I want to add to that Christian is is a grandmaster, and he's so amazing with training high-level players to bring out their best and really focus on. But if you're not didn't make it to grandmaster, or not, that's not your goal, right? Lower-rated players and average chess players can also make chess as the living, right? You just have to find your passion. And as Cristian said, just try out a number of things and see what you like the best, right? And then maybe it's not coaching, but organizing, arbitering, managing coaches, and bringing chess to kids, to scholastic players, to high school kids. Like, high school is such an opportunity right now where kids are so passionate about chess, and these are kids who are not competitive, right? So how do you make that passion, ignite that passion, or if it's ignited already, how do you keep that passion and bringing it to college? So
arguably the most successful chess player on the planet is not a grandmaster. I would say Gotham Chess is one of the most successful chess players on the planet right now. So he's an international master. He managed to make something special out of his skills. And he started off as, I believe he was mostly coaching within schools in New York, and playing as well, trying to find that elusive GM title. He wasn't able to find it, but he found something else, which translated into an incredible career for himself. So there's a lot of examples out there that made it. And even if they weren't grandmasters, I mean, we have in the chat, I see Papa Botez. Look at the Botez sisters. They're not grandmasters, and they're once again probably one of the most successful pair of siblings in the world. Well, for sure, one of the most successful pair of siblings in the world of chess. So you can do a lot of things. You can find a lot of paths in the world of chess nowadays.
A shout out to Papa Botez. Always good to see him.
Cheers to Andre, right?
I know
we just know him as Andre, right? He's Papa Botez.
And if people think you need a title to be working in chess, just look at Judith and me, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore. No. And I don't think it was, you had a more limited opportunity path back in the days. Maybe you could go into like chess politics if you didn't have a title or something like that. But now you can do like so many things. The grandmaster title is not that important.
Be chess politics.
Right. That's another way you can try to go into, FIDE or go into chess politics.
That should be your last option, in my opinion. But anyway, there's so many opportunities to engage with players and really give back to the community. So So getting back to your career, you started the chess podcast with Fabi, right? Any other ideas that you have in mind that you haven't tried out and it's coming up?
No. Right now I have my hands full. I do, my main job is obviously the collegiate program that I run at Mizzou. That's my main job, and then I do a lot of commentary on the side, which occupy a lot of my summertime, especially my summertime, but outside of that as well, with the Grand Chess Tour, with other projects as well, and of course the podcast. I'm slowly starting to kind of get used to the workload and what I have to do, and it's I would say very entrepreneurial at first. Like, you don't really know what you're doing, and you're just doing things, and then you kind of learn while you're doing it. You learn what you have to do. You learn, and this is something that I like personally. My makeup, my personality makeup is, I like to learn a lot, and I get bored if I don't do new things all the time. I get very bored, and that's a big problem for me. I don't do well with that, so I try to keep myself occupied, basically.
Yeah, and you've got a lot on your plate coming up with the Collegiate Chess League playoffs. So, for anyone that wants to tune in, it's going to be this weekend, Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. which is 11 a.m. Pacific, which is where I am. But yeah, there's 2 matches every week. This Saturday and the next Saturday is the semifinals where we'll see Mizzou play. And then that Sunday, November 19th, will be the finals. So congratulations, by the way, for making at least semifinals. With that bye, you get at least $500 for 4th place guaranteed, and $5,000 if you can get first. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited to see it, and hopefully everyone is going to tune in. Actually, we have prediction brackets out. I linked it in the CCL Twitch channel, but just to let you know, Cristian, not to put too much pressure on you, but I have you guys winning the whole season. So
Very nice.
I
Very
predicted
cool.
Mizzou. I watched that match against SLU, and it convinced me. I didn't need to see anymore.
I was the game operator for that, and it was pretty incredible seeing the players from the inside. Like they were in the Zoom together. They felt like a team, and it was pretty incredible seeing that performance. So
Yeah, they were motivated for that week. The tricky part is trying to keep them motivated for every single week. That's the tricky part of the job. But
hopefully the Thanksgiving break is a good motivation for them, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Many of them are playing at the US
Masters.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. After they finish that, they probably go towards Charlotte. A lot of them do. Not all of them, but a lot of them will play in Charlotte as well. So yeah, that's the thing. It's just about competing. And just tell you a funny story to end it up on that. I'm not even sure if it's necessarily funny, but you mentioned the prize fund, and that's important as well for the students. And one of the things that they wanted when they won the Collegiate Chess League is with the prize fund to get a professional barista coffee machine. And I had to explain to the university why we're spending $1,000 on a coffee machine. And finally, they agreed to it, and we bought a very expensive coffee machine, and they never used it. They simply never used it because it actually takes some work to make the coffee with those barista coffee machines. You have to grind the beans. You have to it's a process. They're still buying Starbucks every single day. And I'm like, guys, you can save so much money by not buying Starbucks and using the $1,000 coffee machine that I got you with your Collegiate Chess League winnings. But yeah, that's that's the way collegiate students are. They don't really know what they want. They don't really they still need some guidance.
It's funny, a lot of people ask for trophies, and we give out cash prizes. So maybe if you don't
we should
use
do trophies as well. I think we should do trophies as well. And then maybe when we do the in-person finals, hopefully that's going to be a reality in the upcoming seasons. Maybe we can do big trophies and then big production as well.
Well, I was just saying, if you don't put use to the coffee machine, that basically is your trophy.
I know, right? That was a significant trophy for sure.
We can print a plate on it, and you can put it on.
All right. Well, Cristian, it's been a blast having you. It's been an honor, really. So thank you so much for everything that you do. I really mean it when I say I appreciate all that you've done for college chess, and specifically competing in the Collegiate Chess League. You're probably one of the most influential people that we've had on the podcast so far, and I really recommend anyone that hasn't checked out C Squared Podcast, go ahead and do that, as well as follow Cristian on his socials, and follow the Mizzou team. Like, what Cristian's doing there is really inspiring and awesome, and they're definitely going to try to get their championship back this season. So 2 weekends left of Collegiate Chess League playoffs. Definitely tune in. That's going to be on the main chess channel on Twitch, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime soon, Cristian.
Yeah, right back at you. You guys have been doing a tremendous job with building up and growing the Collegiate Chess League, so keep it going, and I'm sure there's a lot of cool things in the future.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you, Cristian, and really echoing what Joe said. That I
Great
think
chatting with you guys. Yeah.
You are inspiration, and you can be a really good. You are a role model for many of them, because you graduated not too long ago. You're not that old yet, but
not yet. I'm getting there.
Right, with some of us, but you're making a full-time job out of chess and inspire kids. So I think it's amazing to see.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Tune in this weekend, and hopefully we'll see you all then. So take care.